Well, hello and welcome back to the channel, but just in case you're new here, my name is Mike, and in this video I'm going to be doing a deep dive into the Scream Greats horror action figure line from Trick or Treat Studios, mainly because I feel like this line isn't talked about enough, so I'd really like to put a spotlight on it, dig deep, see what's out, see what's coming, talk all about it, but without further ado, let's slice right into it. Alright everybody, let's begin our deep dive into Trick or Treat Studios' Scream Greats. 8-inch action figure line. Now what makes these figures so interesting when they were previewed and first announced in early 2022 is the simple fact that Tots has never done 8-inch figures before. They've done 1/6 scale. They've done 5-inch scale. They've even done 3.75-inch scale. But this is the first time that Trick or Treat Studios is throwing their hat in the ring for 8-inch scale. Now in early 2023 is when the first 3 figures went up for pre-order. And the first 3 figures they showed us were from Killer Clowns from Outer Space. We got Shorty, we got Slim, and we got Fatso. Now, I remember the community was abuzz. People were really excited. Again, this is something new for Trick or Treat Studios, and people love 8-inch scale. But I think most uniquely about this line of figures is the simple fact that Trick or Treat Studios was trying to go for a certain aesthetic, a certain time period where action figures were in the late 90s to early 2000s. Now, if you're like me, you grew up in that era, or maybe you were collecting at that time like I was, do you remember walking into a Toys R Us and they had that one section with all the really cool horror figures and they had a Freddy or a Jason, and you were like, oh my god, this is awesome. For me, it hits all the nostalgia. It brings me back to walking through the mall with my dad, going into a Suncoast Video. If y'all remember that, picking up a VHS tape and looking at all the cool Movie Maniac figures on the wall. And that's what these figures are all about. This is what Trick or Treat Studios was going for with this style of action figure and this whole line of Scream Greats. And pretty much what that means is these figures don't have a ton of articulation. There's not 25 points of articulation, 30 points of articulation. There's not a ton of accessories that come with these figures. Because again, Trick or Treat Studios was trying to go for that time period. The old school Movie Maniacs, the old school cult classic figures. That time zone of late 90s to early 2000s. So this is a great figure line for me, and a lot of people really do enjoy it. I see a lot of criticism because of the articulation of the figures and the lack of accessories. But what people need to understand is the reason these figures are the way they are is not only to fit a certain time period and a certain style, but also by lessening the amount of articulation and joints in the figure, in the knees, the waist, the elbows. They wanted to lessen putting breaks into the design of the figures and really focus on paint application and the face sculpting, which I think they absolutely nailed with every one of these figures that we've gotten so far in Series 1. Now that we know when these figures were previewed, when they came out, and the time period that Tots was going for with these figures, why they have less articulation and all of that, let's talk about what figures are actually out right now in Series 1. So the first figure we have in Series 1 Scream Greats available right now is Candyman. Obviously, the Candyman from the Candyman franchise. There's 3 films, and then of course we got the remake a couple years ago. Really cool figure. I think he looks great. Definitely like this one. The next one we have is from a horror movie called Candy Corn. I don't believe I've ever seen this, but I know there's a killer in the movie, and his name is Jacob Adkins. This looks like such a cool figure. The sculpt and the paint app on this figure alone looks so cool that I think I'm going to go and watch this movie because it looks so freaking awesome. Another one that we have here is from Motel Hell, and you guys remember Farmer Vincent, complete with the pig mask, the overalls, the awesome Kenny Rydell flannel, and his chainsaw. Again, this is another figure that we don't see like all the time. I don't know if there's ever been another Farmer Vincent figure. Same thing with the Jacob Adkins, and that's why I love this line so much, because they're bringing out characters that are not seen all the time in other releases from other companies. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to get the classic slasher icons that we know and that we love, because Trick or Treat Studios also gave us in Series 1 1978 style Michael Myers. This figure looks so cool, so good, so crisp. I absolutely love it. You know who Michael Myers is. There's not really much more for me to say there. The other three figures that you can get right now are from Killer Klowns from Outer Space. We touched on them earlier. Of course, we have Shorty, we have Slim, and we have Fatso. Now, Shorty and Slim, of course, are the more known clowns. They had much more screen time in the film than, say, Fatso did. But Fatso was there. He was doing his thing. It's been a little while since I've seen the movie, but I know he had a good amount of screen time. But I know Shorty and Slim are the two that are really, really well known. And the last figure here to round out Series 1, this is the one that's still available for pre-order that I'm still waiting on. Standing at 10 inches, 2 inches above the rest of his line, is Pumpkinhead. An absolutely awesome horror creature that is super, super underrated and does not get enough love, and I feel like has just been forgotten about. I don't know if it's a licensing thing, I'm not sure, but Pumpkinhead deserves a remake, but that's another video. This figure looks freaking phenomenal. The only Pumpkinhead figure that I know about is the old school McFarlane one that's super rare now and hard to find, and I think this one is even better than that one in terms of the sculpting, so I'm really excited about Pumpkinhead. Again, he's available for pre-order right now on TrickOrTreatStudios.com. So that is all 8 figures in Series 1 for Tots' Scream Greats figure line. Again, 7 figures are available right now. 1 is still up for pre-order. But we're not going to end the video there because Trick or Treat Studios has already announced what we can expect for Series 2 of Scream Greats. Announced at Toy Fair, they gave us a picture of 3 of the figures that we're going to get in Series 2. And I'm so happy to say that we're going to be able to continue our Killer Klowns collection. Because as you can see here, they're giving us Rudy, they're giving us Spiky, and they're giving us Jumbo. Now, I also love this because I assume Jumbo is going to come with his mallet. Rudy, of course, with the popcorn gun. This is super cool. I don't know of any other figure line, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, that is giving us 6 different Killer Klowns like up to date, which honestly, and I think we're gonna even get more. Maybe we can get the whole squad at one point. So this is super, super cool. Also, announced at Toy Fair for Scream Greats is they gave us a little bit of a tease of what we can expect coming for future figures. We have been teased that we're going to get Jeepers Creepers, the Toxic Avenger, the Wolfman, London After Midnight, the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and the Phantom of the Opera. Now, as you can see, what I love so much about this line is, of course, they pepper in the iconic slashers that we all know and love, but they're bringing us so many IPs and so many characters that we just don't see in action figure lines that much. Killer Klowns has blown up in the last handful of years, sure, but you know, the Candy Corns, the Motel Hells, the London After Midnight, when have you ever seen figures like this? So I'm super excited for Series 2 of Scream Greats. Hopefully going to launch sometime in 2024. We don't have an official release, but they're going to be coming soon. They were announced at Toy Fair not long ago, so I'm hoping we're going to get them real soon. So that is a full, complete look at Series 1 and Series 2 of this amazing line that I hope continues for such a long time. But before we end the video, I wrote down a couple ideas that I thought would be really cool figures to bring to this line. Now, of course, I'm going to forget some. I'm not even going to know about some, and I really want you guys to put down in the comments below what figures you would like to see come to the Scream Greats line. But here's some that I wrote down when I was making this video. I thought from Hellfest, the main killer, he was known as the Other. I thought this would make a super cool figure for the line. Again, it's a lesser known horror movie. It's kind of like a cult classics kind of deal. People really enjoyed the film. It's a killer we've never seen. I think that would be a lot of fun. Another one that I think would just be a smash hit is Critters. Now, you know me, you know how much I love Critters, and I beg NECA, I beg everybody just to make a Critters line because I want it so bad. But Critters don't need a lot of articulation, so I think this could be the line where they could really fit in and really find their niche, and I think they would do well in this line for sure. Another one that people absolutely love and have been asking for a long time, and up until I'm recording this in 2024, there's only one The Tall Man figure from Phantasm. I think Phantasm would be a great great action figure. Give people the tall man. They want them. Scream Greats, make it happen. Another one that's maybe a little bit far out there is this guy, Rusty Nail from the Joyride franchise. Now, I don't know, I mean, the first Joyride movie wasn't particularly horror at all, but Joyride 2 and Joyride 3 were full-blown horror, slasher, gory goodness, and Rusty Nail is such a brutal killer, and they could really, I think, bring him to life in that sculpting and the paint application from his flannel, the chain hanging off of his jeans. I think he would just be such a cool figure. You give him a weapon or two and that's all we would need. I really think they could knock him out of the park. Another really cool figure set that I think would be cool, maybe that it could be the lead-in for a Series 3. Let's get the Wrong Turn Cannibals. Why not? Let's get Three Finger. Let's get Sawtooth, and let's get One Eye. I don't believe we have any Wrong Turn cannibal figures. Again, we're talking about these horror movies that are lesser known but people love. They have a cult following. Wrong Turn. Let's bring the cannibals to life in this series. And the last one I have written down here is maybe a bit of a far shot, but I love the movie Orphan. I love the movie Orphan First Kill, and I really want an Esther figure. Why can we not get Esther in action figure form? She is so fucking cool, and she's such a big part of horror now. And now with 2 films under her belt, she's such a fun character, and we need some more female representation in our horror rooms. I want Esther, I want Pearl, I want more Pamela, I want more female representation in my horror collection, and maybe you do too. Those are the ones that I thought about when I was making my preparations for this video. Please let me know down in the comments below any figures that I may have missed or figures that you would like to see in the Scream Greats line. But also give me all of your thoughts down below about Scream Greats. Do you have any? Are you going to pick up any? And did you learn anything from this deep dive into the Scream Greats line? I hope you did. I truly believe it's an underappreciated line, and I really wanted to kind of bring it to the surface, and I hope you all enjoyed it so very much. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for watching this video, and I just want to remind you that my name is Mike, and this is my design.